This is R2D Tech, and Apple just announced the new iPad Air 2020 and it looks absolutely great, so let's get straight into it. In terms of design, that's probably what surprised me the most because it looks very similar to the iPad Pro 11-inch from 2018, which I actually use on a daily basis. And it's got that really nice uniform aluminium body, but also this one, the iPad Air, now comes in lots of different colors, including green, blue, silver, space gray, and rose gold, which all look absolutely fantastic. Of course, the display is probably the most important part of a tablet since that's what you interact with the most. And it's got the same uniform bezels like the iPad Pros, which I really like. The only downside, which is the main downside for this iPad Air compared to the iPad Pros, is that it has a 60Hz display, not 120Hz. Now, of course, the iPad Pros all have 120Hz displays, which are absolutely great. And the only difference really is that when you scroll through the software or game or anything like that, you might find that it seems slightly less fluid than on an iPad Pro. But to be honest, if you don't want to splash lots of cash for an iPad Pro, then this will probably be just fine as well. Moving on to I/O, this is where they've taken a slightly different path from the iPad Pros, but not necessarily a worse path. They've both got the quad speaker setup, stereo speakers, which are absolutely great, and I can vouch for those personally. But the iPad Air does not have Face ID. Now for me this isn't a really big deal since I find it kind of annoying anyway. What they have given you on the iPad Air is actually Touch ID in the power button, which I personally think is even better than Face ID anyway. Now, of course, you also get USB-C on this iPad Air, which is absolutely amazing. So you'll be able to transfer files quite quickly from cameras and things like that. But also, it's just the new standard, and I think USB-C is just better than Lightning in every single way. A couple of extra features you get is you can opt for an LTE version, so you can put your SIM card in. Of course, this will be more expensive, but I think in some cases it might be worth it. Personally, I would stick to the Wi-Fi version, but if you're a business person and you're on the go all the time without a Wi-Fi connection, then it might be something you want to look into. Now also, you do get that smart connector for the Apple Pencil 2nd generation, and yes, that does mean that this iPad Air does work with the Apple Pencil 2nd gen. I think that's absolutely amazing, and it will make things like note-taking on the iPad Air really good, and to be honest, it makes this tablet a really serious competitor for the iPad Pro 11-inch, which is absolutely great for the price point. Now on to specs. Apple have always done a great job with specs in their tablets in my opinion, and this iPad Air will get the brand new A14 Bionic chipset, which is even better than what you get on the iPad Pros at the moment, which I think is kind of funny. And yes, that does mean that this iPad Air will probably be faster in some ways than the iPad Pros, which is kind of hilarious. Now in terms of storage, you can choose between 64GB or 256GB of storage, and this is non-expandable and non-upgradable, so you definitely want to choose the right option for you straight from the get-go. Of course, there are cloud services available, including iCloud and Google services, which means that you can upload photos and things like that to the cloud even if you do run out of storage. Moving on to battery life, which of course is very important in a productivity machine like this, especially since lots of students like myself probably use this all day long for note-taking at uni. Now you do get a 28.6 watt-hour battery, which probably doesn't mean a lot to many people. Now I personally haven't tried this myself yet since the iPad Air is not officially out yet, but I will say from my experience with the iPad Pro 11-inch that the battery life is pretty great on iPads in general, and I would be really surprised if this didn't last you a full day. So in terms of battery, I'm guessing it's going to be absolutely fine. In terms of software, which is also vitally important on a tablet like this, you do get iPad OS 14 straight out the box, which I think is great. It's a really nice software. iPad OS in general has been absolutely amazing. I can tell you from experience on my iPad Pro 11-inch. Now this device and this software is great for multitasking, productivity, and especially note-taking if you're a student. Now if you get the Apple Pencil 2nd generation as well, then note-taking is an absolute breeze, especially with apps like Notability or GoodNotes. I'm not going to spend much time talking about software. All I'll say is it's absolutely amazing. amazing on this tablet, and I'll probably make a separate video dedicated to iPadOS 14 in the future. One of the last things to mention is cameras. I personally don't think that this is important at all on a tablet, but of course that's up to personal opinion. On the back you get a single camera sensor which is 12 megapixels. This will probably be perfectly sufficient for photos, and it's not going to be the best, but it will definitely get the job done. It can also film 4K 60 frames per second on that back sensor, which I think is also quite decent. Again though, I have tried filming on the iPad, and I'd say it's definitely not up to the same quality standard as if you were filming with an iPhone. That's something to keep in mind. On the front, you only get a 7 megapixel camera, which is kind of disappointing, especially since some people like to use their tablet for Skype or Zoom, especially in COVID times, but it can also film 1080p 60 frames per second. Overall, this front camera I'd say is slightly disappointing again, but of course it's a tablet and it's not the most important thing in the world to have a great camera system on a tablet. Finally, we can't end the video without discussing what I think is the best feature of this tablet, which is the price. In the UK, the base model will be around £579, or if you're in the US, the base model will be around $599. Now, compared to the iPad Pro 11-inch, this is quite a big saving, and this tablet's got basically all the features that the iPad Pro has, apart from the 120Hz display. Now, this is slightly annoying, but you can definitely get by without the 120Hz. The 60Hz will also be pretty good as well, even though it might not seem as fluid. You definitely should consider the price saving though, since this tablet looks very similar and feels very similar and even operates very similar to the iPad Pros. So if you are considering buying the iPad Pro 11-inch, then you might want to take a look at this as well, because it's definitely a really close competitor. That's it for this week. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I was really excited to talk about this new iPad Air 2020, especially since it's such a great device and it's so similar to the iPad Pro 11-inch that the price difference seems almost unjustified and too good to be true, but it's there, and if you want it, you can get it. Now, if you did like the video, then please leave a thumbs up, because that really helps with the algorithm. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, then definitely smash that subscribe button and notification bell below. Thanks.